Welcome to everyone. This week video will cover the Bitcoin's market for the week of November 4th, 2024. This video has been made on Thursday, October 31st. Before we start, please make sure you read carefully the disclaimer. Let's start with the 20-day cycle. At the time of my last update, the Bitcoin's market was trading right on his cycle line. We was expecting the market to cross above his cycle line. It's happened on October 12th, when the Bitcoin's market triggered an upside potential target at 64,021. This target had been met and exceed 2 days later on October 14th, for a profit of $2,577. After forming a high on October 21st, as expected, the Bitcoin's market found support on his cycle line on October 25th with a low at 65,521. Then the Bitcoin's market continued his rally on his way to his next 20 days and 40 days cycle peaks. These peaks are expected for the November 3rd and the low on November 13th. At the formation of the next low, the Bitcoin's market should cross below his cycle line, providing a target for the 40-day cycle low. For more details on the 20-day cycle, see the 80-day cycle roadmap. The success rate for the 20-day cycle is 77%. The 40-day cycle. The last 40-day cycle low formed on October 10th at the same time than the 80-day cycle low. By crossing above his cycle line at 65,730 and at the same time triggered a 72,593 target, on October 15th, the Bitcoins give a buy signal. This target had been met 14 days later on October 29th, for a profit of $6,863, or 10.4%. The peak for this 40-day cycle is expected on October 27th. On October 29th, the Bitcoins made a high at 73,600. The actual 40-day cycle peak form on the right part of the cycle. What's first called the right time translation, which usually bullish. In this case, we can expect a moderate correction. At that time of the cycle, the market's supposed to cross below his cycle line, providing a downside target for the next 40 days low, which is expected to happen on November 13th, the vertical blue dashed line. But since it seems to have a good amount of bullishness in the Bitcoin's market, there is the possibility the Bitcoins will find support on his cycle line, instead of crossing below. Here the cycle line for this week. To calculate the potential downside target, we need to wait for the 40 days peak confirmation. For more details on the target calculation, I recommend to watch my videos, Secrets Behind the Cycles, and to read my article on my website, Tradingmarketcycles.com. The success rate for the 40 days cycle is 82%. The 80 days cycle. Since my last update, we have the 80 days cycle confirmation low on October 10th. From the August 5th low to the October 10th low, I drew the 80 days cycle trend line or VTL. We will use this trend line to identify the next 80 days and 20 weeks cycle peak. In fact, when the Bitcoin's market will cross below, this will confirm the 80 days and 20 weeks cycle peak are formed or in formation. The next 80 days low is expected on December 15th. On September 18th, by crossing above his cycle line at 60,000. The Bitcoin's market provide a buying opportunity with a target at 67,454. At the time of my last update, the Bitcoin's market didn't reach yet his target. But on October 15th, the market reached and exceed his target, for $7,454 profit in 27 days. Since the beginning of the year, the success rate for the 80 days cycle is 77%. What's next for the 80 days cycle? Let's see with the roadmap. After his October 10th low, the Bitcoin's market crossed above his cycle line, giving a target for the 20 days peak. The peak occurred on October 21st. Then as expected, the market started his correction to find support on his cycle line. It happened on October 25th. Now, we are here on a way to form the 40 days cycle peak. After the 40 days cycle peak, the Bitcoin's market should cross below his 20-day cycle line, providing a potential downside target for the 40 days low, which is expected to form on November 13th. When the market will meet his 40-day cycle low, we will have a rally to the 80 days peak. On his way to this peak, the Bitcoin's market should cross back above his cycle line, providing a target for the 80 days peak. When the 80 days peak formed, the Bitcoin's market should cross below his cycle line to give a price target for the 80 days low. In the meantime, the Bitcoin's market will form a first low around the third week of November, then rebound toward his cycle line, using it as resistance before resuming his decline to December 15th to form the 80 days low. The 20-week cycle. A new 18 months, 40 weeks and 20 weeks cycle started on August 5th. The Bitcoin's market is on his way to the 20-week cycle peak. Since my last update, it seems like the mood turned around. At that time the market was more neutral than bullish. For this first 20-week cycle since the major low, the low for this 20-week cycle should technically find support on his cycle line on the first week of December. The green vertical dashed line. This cycle line be around $62,747. Despite the neutral mood during my last update, the Bitcoin's market crossed above his cycle line during the third week of September, at 63,800, providing an upside potential target at 75,154. In the previous update, I mentioned 78,000 as the 20 weeks target. I apologize, I miscalculated the target, which will be anyway a new all-time high for the Bitcoin's market. So 75,154 is the next 20 weeks target for the Bitcoins, the green target label on the chart. But if the Bitcoins cross below his 20-week cycle line before reaching his 75,754 target, this will invalid the target. And there is a high probabilities the Bitcoins will become bearish due to the longer-term cycles putting pressure on the market. The 40-week cycle. The date for the next 40-week cycle to form his low is around March 31st, 2025, the blue vertical dashed line. The cycle line on March 10, 2025 will be at 70,571, which should be the support for this first 40-week cycle since the last major low. The red semicircle on the bottom of the weekly chart represent the 40-week cycle. For the peak formation, is still too early to know if we will have a left or right time translation for the peak of this 40-week cycle. The peak of the cycle is around the first week of December. Like I mentioned during the 20 weeks analysis, he looks like the mood in the Bitcoin's market switched to more bullish than the previous weeks. In fact, the Bitcoin's market crossed above his cycle line on the week of October 21st at 67,539, providing a new target at new all-time high at 82,532. In conclusion, the Bitcoin's market still in bullish trend. We are now on the way to the 20-week cycle peak, and we can expect the 20-week cycle low occurring in mid-December. This is the end of this week video. Thank you for following me. If you like the video, click on the like button, share the video and subscribe to make sure you won't miss any important video.